couldn't have Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parshas Vayeitzei, Erev Shabbos, that we're sitting on Shpilkas, waiting to see what's going to be later on today with the release of our hostages. But it's so appropriate that it's taking place today in Parshas Vayeitzei. There's an incredible idea that this parsha is called the parsha of Golus. One of the indications is that there are no psuchos and stumos, there are no open or closed parts of this parsha. It's just one run-on parsha. There are no paragraphs in the Torah. We say that the whole purpose of the paragraphs is that God gave Moshe a little bit of a chance, a little space, in order to be able to assimilate the ideas that he just learned, and to be able to bring them into himself. But when you're in Golus, you don't have much of a chance to be able to do that. But it's interesting that this Golus began with a dream and it ends with a dream. It began with a dream of the ladder and it ends with the dream of the sheep. And it's similar to Yosef. Yosef's Golus began with the dream of the stars and the wheat. And it ended with Paro's dreams and with Yosef interpreting the dreams. And you have to wonder what's the connection between dreams and Golus. With dreams and Geula. That the Golus begins with a dream and it ends with a dream. Because the truth is that what is Golus? Golus is really a dulling of the emunah. It's a dulling of a sense of connection to God, of the presence of God in your life. You feel like you're in Golus, you feel like you're in exile. You feel like you're pushed away. And what's a dream? A dream is a little bit of that emunah shining through. There's a little bit of that feeling of look what we can do. Look what we still want to do. Look at the Yeshivos. Look at the aspirations that we have. Golus comes on us when we're asleep. When we lose our Yeshivos, when we lose our aspirations, when we lose our hopes, when we lose our vision for the future. But then when we dream, when it peeks through, so then that's when we know that Geula is on its way. Because as long as we're still dreaming, as long as we're still hoping, as long as we're still aspiring, that means that we are very much awake, though it appears that we're asleep. Somebody once turned to this Ponivitcher Rav, who after the Holocaust had a dream of rebuilding the great Yeshivas of Europe in Bnei Brak. And he saw 3 mountains. He wanted to rebuild on those 3 mountains. And he told over his dreams, his hopes, to Rav Herzog. Rav Herzog said to him, "You're dreaming." And he looked at Rav Herzog and he said, "I'm dreaming, but I'm not asleep." Because a real dream, a real hope, a real aspiration, that's the definition of who we are, and that is the litmus test. That we're not dead, and that we're not gone, and we're not finished. Ponivitcher Rav, on the day of the laying of the cornerstone of Ponovich, of his dreams becoming a reality, sat down on a stone and started to cry bitterly. Somebody said to him, "Rabbi, why are you crying? We're building the yeshiva." Ponivitcher Rav said, that cornerstone wasn't laid yesterday. That cornerstone was laid 57 years ago. He said, "I was brought up in Russia. I had two brothers. We were an impoverished family. And there was one coat and one set of boots between the 3 of us. And there was a terrible storm outside. We needed to get to yeshiva. So the night before, my mother asked which one of us wants to go, hoping that only one of us would go. And then she had enough that she had a coat and boots to be able to take us there. And each one of us enthusiastically said, we want to go to yeshiva. My mother woke up the first child the next morning. And he said to her, "Did I win the contest? I'm the winner. I get to go to yeshiva?" And she looks at him and she goes, "I'm the winner." She puts the coat and the boots on him. And a half hour in the freezing cold snow, she brings him to the yeshiva. She comes back for number 2. And number two also thinks that he's the one that gets the coat and the boots. He's the winner. And she takes him a half hour to the yeshiva. And then she wakes up Rav Kahneman. And he says to her, Mom, am I the winner? And she said, no, I'm the winner. She puts on the coat and the boots and takes a third half-hour trip to the yeshiva. Says Rav Kahneman, I remember her singing the entire way. How lucky she was to have 3 children that all they wanted to do was to go learn Torah. At that moment, I said to myself that that's going to happen. That there's going to be a yeshiva that's going to be built, that's going to teach those values, and it's going to be based and founded on those values. This cornerstone was laid 57 years ago when my mother took me that snowy morning to yeshiva. That's when his Golus ended, long before World War II. That's when his Geula began, because he dreamed. So many of us go day by day by day just doing what we do, making sure, trying we stay out of trouble. We try to achieve some kind of happiness, but there's no Yeshivas. There's no aspirations, no dreams, no goals. Where am I going? Who do I want to be? What do I want to become? What do I want to achieve? That's Golus. That's what Yaakov Avinu teaches us. When you're asleep, don't forget to dream. When you're in Golus, you can get out of Golus by having a hope and a thought and a dream. We're in a dark time. I've mentioned to many people, there is a pull hanging over Eretz Yisrael and really over world of Jewry. There is an incredible feeling of Golus. Well, there's a certain euphoria over the Achdus that's existing in Klal Yisrael. But then when you just turn away from that a little bit, and you look at the reality of what we're fighting with, who we're fighting against. We're fighting against our enemies all around the world. And we realize that we're engaged in a battle on so many different fronts and so many different levels. At some level, we feel like we're asleep. We're disconnected. There's no das. We have no mind. We have no thoughts. We don't know where we are. Then we start to dream. We dream of all the prisoners coming home, intact, unscathed, alive. We dream of a world of peace. And that peace includes not only peace from our Arab neighbors, but peace with each other. We dream of a world of support for the Jewish nation and of an acceptance of God in their lives. And as long as we dream about becoming people of value, people of worth, people where challenges are overcome, people of strength. As long as we dream, our bodies might be in Golus, but we are already in Geula. We are already in redemption. Have a beautiful, amazing Shabbos, where all the dreams of our heart become fulfilled.